Hello guys, welcome back to Photoshop. In this video we are going to be making a party flyer design, and we are going to head to our resource folder and we are going to start with this background here. So I'll just drag this and drop, then I'll fit it into my workspace like so. Then I'll click on OK. So the first thing I'll do is to blur this image. So I'll go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Then I'll just set this to about, let's leave it like this. Then I'll click on OK. So I'll go to filter. With this same image selected, I'll go to filter, camera raw filter. And I'll just start editing. So I'll start with this basic here, and the exposure I'll increase it to about 0.5, contrast to about 60. I want the colors in this image to really show themselves, and I'll set the texture, I'll just set it to the maximum, and clarity just a little bit of it. Vibrance, 10 is okay. Then I'll go to detail and just click on sharpening, and I'll set this to about, let's see, so let's just leave it here, and click on OK. So you see the effect applied. Alright, so the next thing I'll do is to delete this old background here. So with this selected, I'll go to this solid color here, and I'll just select gradient. Now I'll click on this layer here, on that space there, and I'll change this one to brown, a very dark brown. So you can find brown from orange. The dark shade of orange looks like brown. And I'll click on OK. So select this edge, this icon here, make sure it's set to 0. If you set to 100, the white color, for example, hold on, I'll double click and change this to purple. So if you set to pink or purple, whatever color that is, there'll be a purple gradient here, and then the brown here will be below, but we want the color here to be turned off. So click on this icon here. This one controls the opacity of each color you add. So click on this and you see this opacity, set it to 0, and some purple is showing or pink. I'll just change it to brown, and I'll click on OK, and also click on OK again. Then make sure this is set to 90. If you set it to something like this, the color will appear from here. If you set it to something like this, the color will appear from here. If you set it like this, the color will appear from above, but we want it to appear from below to cover these hands and people here. So we just set it to 90. So I'll just type in 90 and click on OK. So I'll go back to my resource folder and select these things here. I just drag and drop, and I'll fit it to my workspace, and I'll click on OK. I'll change this to soft light, and I want to change this green to brown. So I'll go to adjustments, hue and saturation. Then I'll clip it side to affect only the green, and I'll just move this till I locate something like that looks like brown. So this is okay. Now I'll just reduce the opacity to about, let's say, 30. Sorry, we're reducing the opacity of this hue and saturation instead of the green line. So Ctrl Z. I'll click on the green line and set the opacity to about 30. Okay, let's make it 20. Alright, so I'll select this hue and saturation and everything here, then I'll group them together using Ctrl G, and I'll name this background. So I'll head back to my resource folder and I'll start with this one here. I'll just drag this and place it. Then I'll increase the height, something like this, and I'll click on OK. Then I'll make sure it's really in the middle. Now, okay, I'll move it down a bit again. Alright, so I'll go to filter and go to camera raw filter. So I'll start editing this. I want to increase, I'll start with this basic here. I'll increase the temperature towards yellow, increase the exposure to about 0.25, increase the contrast, reduce the highlights, texture should be increased, and clarity just a bit. I'll increase vibrance as well. Then I'll go to detail, sharpening, and leave it at 19. So we'll just ignore this other edits for now and click on OK. Alright, so I'll click on this empty space here and head back to my resource folder. Then I'll just drag this and drop. Then I'll increase the size so that they will be of equal size and click on OK. So I'll move my mouse around here, here around these smart filters. I'll hold Alt and drag up and just release it over this one, so that the same filter will be applied to it. So now they have the same color filters, and I'll place this one under this one and also increase the size of this again. So I head back to my resource folder and drag this one, and I'll just place it here, and I'll then increase the size. Yeah, so I'll move it behind this as well. And place it proportionally, and then I'll hold Alt on these smart filters and release it over here to apply the same filter on it, and I'll group all of them together and name it man. So I'll open this up. So if we notice, this one has more contrast, so we want it to be applied on this other two. So we'll just leave this one that has more contrast. We'll leave this one. So I'll go to the camera raw filter of this one on the left and click on it again. So I don't want to reduce the contrast of this one to match it with this other two. I'll rather increase the contrast of the other two. So I'll go to basic and just increase contrast. Then I'll click on OK. Yeah, I'll select this one too and go to camera raw filter. Then I'll just increase the contrast to an exposure as well. I'll set exposure to about 0.3. Fine, so we can group all this together. So with this layer selected, with this group selected, I'll just mask it and get my brush tool. Turn off caps lock to see your brush size, and you can reduce your brush size from here, or I'll hold Alt to reduce from here. Hold Alt and drag to the left to reduce. So make sure this is set to black to hide. 100. Hardness to 0 because we want a soft brush. So now we'll start fading this off like so to match it to the background. Alright, so I'll go back to my background and open it up. Then this gradient fill, I'll duplicate it with Ctrl J, and I'll place this above the men here. So I'll get my brush tool B and just take it off a bit side to not affect their faces. Alright, so let's see the before and after. I'll get my brush tool and change to white here, switch to white and get your brush tool. Now I'll paint in some parts I removed in excess. Okay, now I already showed you how to create a text effect in the introductory video of this course, so no need to add a long process of me creating a text effect. I already have a text effect I made, so I'll just drag this and drop. And the name of the font used on this for this text effect is Victoire, V-I-C-T-O-I-R-E, V-I-C-T-O-I-R-E. We'll still use it in this design, but so I'm just helping you remember the name. So I'll just increase this like so. I'll place it somewhere here. Okay, I'll reduce it a bit again. Then I'll click on OK. I'll select this main layer here, the whole group, and transform. I'll just reduce the size. So I'll move it down. Alright. So I'll select this text effect and go to image, adjustments, brightness and contrast. I'll increase the contrast and I'll click on OK. So let's see the before and after. So just a mild effect. I'll make sure this is centralized. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is to add this from our resource folder. This red tag here, I'll drag it and drop. And I'll place it somewhere here. Then increase the size. And I'll click on OK. So I'll click on this text effects and the folder of the men. I'll hold Ctrl to select the both. Then I'll click on Ctrl T and increase it upwards. Then click on OK. So now I want it to look like, let me zoom in. I want it to look like this tag here is wrapped around this text effect. I want it to look like it went around it, so they'll look like one single element working together. So I'll create a mask and get my brush tool, turn off caps lock and reduce the brush size so I can see it. Then I'll make sure hardness is set to 100 because we want a solid brush, and set your opacity to 100 as well. So change to black That now I'll zoom in again and just take it off from here. So let's zoom out and see what I'm talking about. So if you look now, it looks like this red tag went around this text effect, like it is attached to it. So that's the effect we wanted to create. So I'll zoom in again. Then I'll move this down a bit so this text can still be readable. So the next thing I'll do is to make a copy of this red tag and I'll place it under here. I'll go to FS effect and go to color overlay. So I'll change this to black and click on OK. Make sure the setting you have is same with mine and click on OK. So now I'll zoom in. So we want to create a shadow effect, so I'll name this red tag shadow. Now I'll move it down make sure you select this tool here, your move tool. Now move this down. Alright, so next thing I'll do is go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Then just set this to about something that will match and I'll click on OK. So I'll go to this mask tool here and take it off from areas I don't need. So this shadow here, the shadow on this part is hanging on in air. There's nothing it is dropping on. So we'll take it off from the parts that we don't need. So we'll get our brush tool, turn off caps lock, then zoom in for accuracy. If you zoom in too much, Photoshop will bring out these lines because this is a pixel software, not a vector software. If this was Adobe Illustrator, you can zoom in as much as possible without losing quality. So that's why vectors are always like vectors cannot be pixelated, and that's why you cannot create a logo with Photoshop. So I'll just take off the shadows from this part that we don't need them on. So I'll switch back to white and bring it back to this part. We need them on this part, so we'll bring them back using white. Remember, white reveals and black hides. Alright, so also this shadow here too, take it off, change to black, and then from here take off the shadows here because it's not dropping on anything, just like it's hanging. So let's zoom out once with Ctrl+0. Yeah, so all these little details matter. So I'll just set the opacity to about 60 and I'll group this together and call it tag. Alright, so I'll get my text tool and I'll just type in night. The name of the event is Baller's Night. I'll select everything and change this to white. Then I'll click on OK. Now, the name of the font I want to change it to, I told you earlier, is Victoria. I spelled it, so you see the spelling here in case you want to download it. So I'll just select these poppins here and type in the name of the font I want to use. So I'll just select it and click on OK. Okay, so I'll wait for this to load up. Then I'll get my move tool and click on Ctrl+T to transform. I'll increase the size and rotate it like so. Then I'll just place it on this red tag here and then rotate it to get the same balance with the shape it is placed on. Then I'll click on OK. Alright, so now we've added it to this. I'll drag it and put in this tag folder here. Then I'll group it with the text effect and call this header or title. And I'll select this empty layer here. So I'll create a grid here. I'll place one here and place the other on the edge of this text effect. So I'll zoom in and just make a rectangle. I'll click on this color here, tap once here and pick this red. Then I'll click on OK. I'll go to this properties here and curve it to about 10. Yeah, now I'll zoom in and get my text tool. So I'll type in the dates of this event. So let's just say 30th January. I'll select everything. I'll select the January and I'll increase it till it is in line with this 30th. So I'll go to my text tool and increase this to about 12, to my character panel rather. So I'll just click on OK. Now we want to fix something. The space between the 30th and January is too much, so I'll go to this auto here. Let's try 6. 6 is too tight. 8. Let's try 8. And 9. So we'll go with 10. Yeah. So I'll just drag it and place it here. I'll move it up a bit. I'll click my rectangle tool. I'll cancel. I'll select my rectangle and go to rectangle tool. Then I'll reduce the size. And I'll click on OK. So I'll click on this text and centralize it on the rectangle in the rectangle. So I can zoom out now. Yeah. So I'm going to add other text, and I already have the text here. So I'll just start with this Envato Club presents. I'll drag it and drop here. So I'll just leave it above here, somewhere here, and I'll centralize. So don't worry if it's not visible for now, we'll still fix that. I'll head back to this text and click on hosts. I'll just drag it and drop. Ctrl T. Okay, I'll create a grid on top this 30th. Then I'll move the host up to match. So Ctrl H to hide your grids. So in case I wonder, the text I use for this stuff I pasted here is Poppins. So look at it here. Poppins is the name of the font, so you can just edit and type in your own text. So I'm going with center alignment, that is, every text is placed in the center, not to the left or to the right. Everything is in the center. That's why I'm using these grids to make sure everything is placed in the center. Okay, so I'll go back and drag this location. Then I'll drop. I'll use my move tool and drag it and place it here. And make sure it's centralized. Then I'll leave it and move it up a bit. and then drag this final text. So I have it in a folder. I'll just drag the folder and paste. Yeah, so now I'll move this down. Ctrl T to transform and move it down faster. Then I'll click on OK. Empty layer here. I'll drag this free package and move it here. I'll drag this and move it here. Sorry, I'm double selecting, so I'll just drag this and click on this empty blank space here. Then I'll make sure this one is centralized. So I'll close this up. Now let's zoom out one with Ctrl 0. Alright. So I'll move this host, I'll move this ones up, this fee, invite and pack. I'll move them up the folder. And I'll do the same with I'll close this up. I'll click on this title, which is the text effect. I'll select the title and select the men also, holding Ctrl key. Then I'll move them up together. Okay. I'll click on this host and change the color of that rectangle because it's kind of light. It's not the same we used here. So I'll select once and click on this and pick this red here. Then we'll click on OK. Alright, so we're pretty much done adding text. So we're just going to add filters. I'll go to adjustments here. If you cannot find the adjustments, go to window and make sure adjustments is activated. So once you get to adjustments, click on this icon, color lookup. I'll just change this to 3 strip. Yeah, so it has given a color to this design I wanted. Now I'll duplicate this, Ctrl J, and we don't want it that much, so I'll just set this one to 8. So let's see the before and after. Now I'll just add noise. So I'll create a new empty layer and name this noise. Edit, fill, 50% gray. Make sure your settings same with mine. Then click on OK. So go to filter, noise, add noise, and I'll set this to about 15. And I'll click on OK. So we'll change the blend mode to soft lights and group together with these color lookups and just name them filters. Yeah, so that is pretty much it for this design. We will not be adding lens flares and all that because there's no light source directly hitting them. If we made the background to have a very solid lighting, then we would have applied lens flare on the models, but we're not going to be doing that. So there's something I want to correct. I'll create a grid and place it here. So I'll make sure every text here is moved up to that grid. Then I'll remove this grid here. So it's this one I want. And I'll go back to posts and select everything here concerning the text beneath. I'll remove this. Sorry. This Vato Club, I'll drag it and place in the title. So now I'll select everything from here to here and group them with Ctrl G. Then I'll name them footers. Then I'll move it up to meet that line we created. So there will be some space under the design. Yeah, so Ctrl H to hide the grid. So that's it for this design, and I'll see you in our next video. So I'll just export file, export as PNG. Then I'll select the folder I want it to be saved to and change the name. So if I'll just save it as party flyer. So you can, yeah, this is how to save it as PNG, high quality image. Then you click on save. So I don't want to save it, I'll cancel. If you want to save as JPEG, JPG, go to file, export, then click on export as. So you see multiple options to export with. So just wait for the next menu that will load up. Yeah, so once this loads up, okay, change format from PNG to JPEG if you want it as a JPEG. Then you can change the quality from here and export. You select folder and export. So that is it for this design, and we'll meet in the next video.